Autumn Cleveland, thank you so much for doing this. I know your time is valuable. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on this.
I really enjoy your health tips on your YouTube channel. Do you enjoy doing that type of stuff?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to do more of it and even more interactions like this. One of my personal goals is to get better at speaking on cameras and publicly, so any opportunity is good. That's why I started making those videos.
Yeah, good for you. You recently competed in the Arnold Model Search in Ohio again. How was the experience this year?
Oh, it was great. It's a really fun event. I compete in figure. I've competed in figure for 15 years. I've also done Hooters pageants, swimsuit pageants a long time ago, and so the modeling thing is a fun opportunity for me to still feel like a competitor and still have something to shoot for. But I love it because we get to express ourselves a little bit more because there's like an outfit round. It's supposed to be like an athletic round, but I like to keep it Arnold themed. And there's no pressure. Like we get to, you can show up however you want. I personally wanted to have a little bit of a tighter package than the year before. And it is subjective. All of the girls are beautiful. I'm very honored to be a part of it, but it's also nice because it's not a streamlined look you have to be like. You can just bring your best and enjoy it. So I loved it.
And for people who have never been to the Arnold before, I mean, it's a pretty cool experience. The whole weekend, the whole week.
Yeah, it's nice because I forget how big our community is and how big our industry is until I go to an event like that, and then I realize this place is filled with thousands of people. Even if they don't seem active, if you just look at someone, you see some people that maybe they didn't choose a sport to get there, but they're still interested and they still respect our sport. I think that's awesome. Or they're there just to support someone who's in the event. So I like it because I think it expands to a larger group of people of what we do, and then that in turn motivates them. So even people who aren't bodybuilders and fitness enthusiasts still get to learn about our sport, which I think is important. But it's huge.
Autumn, your transformation from what you look like now to 5 or 6 years ago is pretty incredible. Broad, just a broad question. How did you do that?
A lot of consistency, and I'd call it a lot of layering over the years. Obviously, I've done this for 15 years straight. With, of course, I take breaks every couple of months, but I think just that I keep going and don't fall off of it, or get too far away from my look or my conditioning. I'm always in the gym, even if it's off season. I just might train a little differently, or I always eat clean, but I might have a few more cheat meals or be a little bit more loose. And I just think that consistency over time, I feel like it's finally starting to catch up. The other difference is that I'm coming into an age where I feel like muscle maturity is on my side. I've always heard that since I was a kid, so I think it's finally getting to an age where my body's just coming together, which is nice, but it's still hard work.
You are a coach. Tell us about that.
It's my favorite thing to do. I really love my job. The more I do it, the more I love it. I started coaching athletes in 2011. I took three competitors my first year, and I just did it. Kind of asked them to be my guinea pigs, and they all took top three in their classes, and so that was not just rewarding for everyone, but it also gave me more confidence to start using the title of a prep coach because at first I was hesitant. Um, and over the years, I've learned a lot through trial and error, working with a lot of different people, a lot of different bodies. I've learned that the same thing doesn't work for every single person. Everyone needs just as much individual attention. And so even though I have a competition team, I still treat each person like it's an individual case as necessary. But I feel lucky that people trust me and they're coming around to try my methods and they're open to ideas. And I have really awesome clients. And so now the team is growing a little bit bigger, um, which is exciting. But I'm proud of every single person because I get to watch them transition from the starting point where they say, okay, I'm going to make a commitment. And then by the end of it, they've just completely flourished into different people, like very confident. In fact, there's a show here next week. So I have 10 athletes who are getting ready to do their first show next week.
How many athletes did you have in a recent show in Kentucky recently?
In March, I had 6 athletes in that show. This show that's going to be next weekend, that one is a larger show, and I have 10 athletes in that, and 5 of them competed in March. So 5 new athletes, and then 5 of them. And I hope it continues to grow as long as I can still give everyone the attention they need.
There was a recent show where you got some kind of a coaching award. Was that fun?
Yes. That was a huge surprise. I also expedite the shows here in Kentucky. If I'm at a show, I'm either coaching, competing, or expediting. I have test judge, but they don't allow you to become an actual judge if you have teams, and so that kind of set up a barrier there. But I've had the experience, and so when I was sitting in the audience, I thought when they called my name to go on stage, I thought they needed help with the show to like work. So I got ready to expedite or take trophies out, and it was just a complete surprise because I didn't expect that, and it was really nice because that was the first show that I did ever in 2004. And so that show means a lot to me. It's a very significant show. And to be recognized for my work in that case was hugely rewarding because it wasn't me competing or helping with the show. I felt like it was a new way of being recognized in my sport, which I would never ask for. You know, I'm already rewarded every day, but it was just such a nice acknowledgement to have, especially from our NPC, our Midwest panel, our Mid-Atlantic zone. That was really nice of them to put that together.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you competing in any other shows this year?
I might. I'm preparing as if I want to. I'm not saying anything yet. I have some shows in mind that I'd like to do, but everything has to work out. You know, I have to make sure that my body's on the right track and kind of let it show me when it's ready to get on stage. I've learned that over the years is the balance. Everything has to be in balance, and I also still have to do a good job with my athletes. You know, I have to make sure that I can still be a good coach and good trainer, but then also have some time for myself to do what's necessary to compete. So when all of that comes together, I'll be on stage. Worst case scenario, I'm still going to prep and test myself personally. Even if I end up not competing, I'll still want to push my body to some levels that I've never seen. So that's my goal.
Any other goals you have written down or thought of for this year for you?
Oh yeah, gosh, what are they? Business goals. I'm a posing coach here in Louisville, Kentucky, and I want to get better at the technology so that so that I can start doing online coaching for posing. I'd love to do that across the country, as I've had some requests, but I need to nail down the fluidity of using Skype. So that's a business goal of mine. Of course, I have like background goals. Like I'd love to have, as long as I have a successful team, I'm happy. I consider that a good goal. I don't expect everyone to take first place, but even if they got last place, if they felt happy and they had a good experience, to me, that's a success. So I want everyone on my team this year to feel successful in their season. Personal goals. I don't want to talk too much about those yet because it might give away what I have intended. So I'm not going to touch on that. But really just finding that balance. I think at this point in my life, I've done enough shows to where I feel like I have the experience. Now I want to be able to focus on bettering myself and challenging myself, whether there's a show in sight or not, and just be happy with my body on a daily basis. In the past, I've kind of struggled with being stage ready and then trying to accept myself in the off season, which is difficult for anyone, I'm sure. But I feel like as women, it's even harder, especially with what's expected in our fitness industry, that if you put on a few pounds, that's a bad thing. And so I'm trying to learn to accept myself by, I set up more photo shoots in the off season now, just so I can keep a healthier image of my own body. So that's my goal.
Yeah, I hear that so much from a lot of competitors in the off season. They struggle with that.
Yeah, and I actually love it when I see pro competitors put pictures of their real life, their daily life, because we see their stage images, which are amazing. We see their photo shoots, but I love it when occasionally they'll post just a picture like we all have, you know, the day after a cheat meal, or when they're not feeling the best in shape, or when they're in their off season. I think that's important for people to see. And so I actually really appreciate when people at a higher level that I admire do that, because it makes it more realistic and attainable, which is something I try to do for other girls too. I mean, if I post a picture, it's hopefully encouraging to them to say, here's what you saw in the photo shoot, and then here's what is really going on. I think that's cool.
Autumn, last question for you. For the people who might be watching who are struggling to eat clean, have motivation to work out, what would you say to them?
To set small goals, small attainable goals. One thing that I commonly stress with my clients is that it's not an off or an on switch. A lot of people, I think, when they start a plan, when they commit to something, that they say, oh, well, I didn't do a good job today. I didn't do it perfectly. And so they say, okay, tomorrow they'll start it. But instead, what they're doing is, instead of saying like 100%, if they would say, okay, well, I did 85% better, that's still progress. And so one of my favorite quotes is, you wouldn't slash the other 3 tires just because you got a flat tire. And I love it because it puts it in perspective that nobody's perfect on an everyday basis for their entire lives, but that doesn't mean that they can't make small steps to keep moving forward. And so some of my clients actually, we don't measure in numbers, we don't do progress pictures, we don't write a diet. The goal is maybe just to get like a gallon of water in that week, and maybe it takes them 2 weeks. Or maybe the next goal is for them to get 3 meals a day instead of 1. And then eventually we build up to, more of a structured plan that works for them. But I'd say the biggest piece of advice is not to give up just because you, in your eyes, not perfect. And also just to set small goals, because each time you attain one of those goals, you're going to feel more successful, and they all add up. So that's definitely what I would say to that.
You always seem like such a kind person. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on. Thanks.